And indeed, I got a lot of responses just because of this joke saying, usually I don't respond to recruiters, but just because you made me laugh, I really want to talk to you, man.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, Boyan is a headhunter as well, but from a recruitment point of view, not a killing point of view. So yeah, essentially when it comes to email and LinkedIn, now those are two completely separate platforms, so completely separate capabilities in terms of how exactly you can do cold outreach. It's not like everywhere you can use custom fields and personalization. So you really gotta understand the tools, the tech stack that you're using for the automation, because I assume most of this would be automated so you can cover a larger volume. So understand the capabilities of your tools. And if they do not offer you the ability to use what you want to use, then just change the tech stack. Don't be afraid to just drop a tool and go to their competitors. It's totally worth it. Essentially, your strategy is more important and adjust the tools to your strategy and not the strategy to the tools.
All right, welcome to today's VidTal podcast. Now, before we dive into all the cold email strategies that we're going to cover, just want to let you know that right now you can get a free trial of VidTal 2.0 Premium. So this is our full tool with over 8 million ads and landing pages. For example, let's just look at Grammarly here. We got this ad. Check it out, of course. Play it, look at this performance, look at all the different landing pages, etc. Check out all this, whatever market you're in. You can spy on your competitors, etc. And we've got a bunch of other stuff here. You can break things down by rankings. You can see different. Let's look at software. All right, software advertisers. Look at that, break it down like that. 30-day spend. All this stuff, many different categories here. You can do a creative breakdown of your ads. So put it in, it'll spit out some variations for you to test. You can look at the top performing legal entities. So some of these companies have multiple brands underneath them, which is actually pretty cool to check out. And just general search too. Also, we have our affiliate tracker, so you can go and look at affiliate ads specifically by different networks, ClickBank, Digistore, Buy Goods, GiddyUp, etc. So go ahead and claim your free trial of VidTal. Go to vidtal.com and check it out. All right, without further ado, let's dive into today's show. Welcome to the show. We got Matey and Boyan. Matey is the owner of the marketing family. Boyan is his right-hand man over there. And they do some amazing things when it comes to cold outreach. I speak from firsthand experience. We had a really very successful relationship for a very long time. Nothing but amazing things to say about these guys. They are always on the cutting edge of cold outreach when it comes to email, LinkedIn, probably some other platforms I have no idea about. So really excited to have you guys on the show today and just talk about how we can get more people via cold outreach to understand what we're doing and start conversations and close those conversations into successful client relationships. So welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. So what's the state of email? Is always going to die every year. The last year of email, right? This is the year that email dies. Like how are things going on the cold email front? What would you say?
Not ready to die yet. Definitely not ready to die yet. We still have a long lifespan to go with this.
Some people would say you can't kill what's already dead, but that just doesn't sound right in this case. The email we still have a lot to take from email, and for sure, just the trick is to just adjust yourself to the market trends and just use it the right way. But to answer the question, because I see a lot of people asking, should I just cut cold outreach and email in general? No way. Like, not in 100 years for sure. As long as we have internet in 100 years, probably be post-apocalyptic by then. But still, the trick is just do your maths before that. Pipeline metrics more specific. Get to the right conclusions and just figure out how exactly to use it, and then it will unlock doors in place you probably wouldn't believe were there in the first place.
Nice. So what are some basic pipeline metrics that how we can evaluate? Starting out here, how can we take a look at our own pipeline metrics?
Well, I think one of the first steps is to, well, the businesses at different stages across the board, so it's difficult to put a, like a default plan on how we should proceed. But I always like to look at the current clientele. Let's assume there is one. We're not talking about a startup. That's basically the baby steps. So let's just look at the current clientele and make sure that we have a system that contains the respective sales data about this clientele. Where did they come from? What was the estimated deal value? What was the expected close? What was the actual close date? When was the proposal sent? All these micro stages, they should be documented somewhere, and the system should allow you to just extract and summarize this information based on dates, based on these tags. Let's call them just tags. And the tag system should be channels, should be countries, should be segments, industries, product types. We can just use our imagination. I don't think that every company should follow the same basic principles when it comes to which tax system they should use. I mean, this tax system worked for this company, but not for the next one. For sure, we see it across the board all the time, and that's probably something I want to pay close. Put an exclamation mark here. Is that I noticed that a lot of the very well-written articles out there that describe which pipeline metrics we should follow, they just don't have this disclaimer. Here, technically, this works primarily for SaaS companies, or this works for e-commerce agencies. This works for, right? So the trick is probably to just consult with someone more experienced in terms of which exactly metrics I should follow for my own business, and then use that knowledge base to build those tag systems, then tag your deals respectively. And then once you have this system in place, this CRM system with and more specifically sales CRM system with the respective deals, when they were closed, what do they look like, then comes the metrics. And one of the most important ones that I would say any business should look at is pipeline velocity. So this is basically how much, to put it in a few words, how much money is your pipeline making you per day for a given period of time. Let's say you and I look at your pipeline for the span of January, for example, 2023. So for this period of time, pipeline velocity and the formula that calculates it, which is the number of opportunities that you had in January times the average deal size of those opportunities times the average win rate of your team, so the conversion rate, so to speak, divided by the number of days of your average sales cycle length, right? And then this shows you, okay, so how much money is my pipeline making? Are those deals making me per day? And looking at this estimation technically forces you to calculate what I just said, all these variables in the formula. It forces you to make sure they're tagged and tracked, right? And in order to track them, this forces you to track other things as well, because some of them are actually derivatives from other formulas in their own turn. So pipeline velocity is a pretty good place to start to sum it up.
Got it. Very cool. So okay, so we have the metrics in place now in terms of like what to look at. So how are we getting leads? How are we identifying who we want to get? How are we getting those leads? And then what kind of messaging, what platforms are we using to then, drive people through the pipeline at whatever velocity we're measuring?
Yep. So once you have your measurements, and obviously they should go side by side with your target revenue. So you need to know your business, like what is the target in terms of revenue, because it can't just be, I just want to make as much money as possible. That's complete bullshit. You got to know how much technically the minimum that you must make, depending on your team's availability, deliverability, et cetera, right? There's a lot of factors here that need to be taken into account. But once you know your targets and you're following your pipeline metrics across the board, you look at that and you eventually you can come to an understanding that you need this number of sales qualified opportunities, for example, that need to come from cold outreach through email cold outreach by this period of time in order to reach this target, right? So essentially, this is what following the metrics shows you. I need to put this much input in this channel or this marketing strategy or whatever, in order to get this outcome. And so essentially, if your calculations show you that you need to invest a specific amount of resources in outbound in order to get, reach a specific target, then this usually, for the B2B world, this usually means primarily email and LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
And those are two main channels, platforms. Different people call them different things, but technically two different methods in which you can acquire leads through outbound. And respectively, how you're going to do it is the next question. Okay, we know that it should be email and LinkedIn, but what do we do there, right? And this depends on the outbound strategy. Of course, could be a lot of different things there. And it's not just sell, right?
Okay.
You can create yeah, sorry.
Oh, no, I was just because for more specificity, so a lot of our audience we have a lot of agency owners in our audience. So we could think about that. So what are some, in terms of the messaging on the channels, so LinkedIn and email, what kind of messaging would we want to use? What do you see successful in terms of like closing service-based business, going from cold to closed?
Yeah, Boyan, want to take this?
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Well, the thing that we see that works most, obviously nowadays, a lot of companies are still using cold email outreach, and a lot of the leads that receive those messages, they have their inboxes full of, well, it's not technically spam, but it can be considered spam considering the sheer volume of emails they receive on a daily basis. So what you need to do is somehow stand out from the herd in order for this to work. And the best practice that still works to this day that we've noticed is personalization. Try to personalize the email as much as possible. Gather as much information about the lead as you can upfront, something that you can insert in the mail, not only about showing how much you know them, showing that you spend time to know them and show them that you actually wanted to connect with them for a reason. And then humor is always always something that really breaks the ice and helps the other side be a little bit more trustful to you, or triggers them to open the email, read the content, and actually respond to your case. And obviously, if you include any social proof or any pain points, any problems that you would solve to this company, and showing that you made the research, usually adds up to a positive reply and, well, proposal and signing them later on.
Nice. And all the sorry, I just want to chime in because I know you guys aren't gonna you guys are too humble to talk about this. But I remember, Matey, you told me one time that we needed to add like a personalized image, the coffee cup, into our email sequence, and I think it took me like a month or 2 months to actually end up taking the picture. And I just didn't believe it.
Yeah.
This sounds so dumb and so lame and so cheesy. And I have to tell you, like, that personalized, like you're saying, personalized, humorous picture gets by far the most responses on, in doing cold email outreach. So I've seen that play out with exactly what you described. Just wanted to add that, and that was not, that was your idea, not mine. And I didn't believe it until I saw the results.
Definitely, yeah. No, my idea was to use it, but I definitely did not come up with the concept of putting up a picture with a couple of cups. I mean, I'm sure that there's like millions of marketers out there who came up with the same thing. So there's no way to track who originated. I got it, I think, from. No, I don't remember, but maybe from John Buchan, one of his templates. If you guys haven't heard of John Buchan, like big, hands down, like one of the best copywriters, email copywriters I've ever seen. Like
Absolutely.
John Buchan. Well, John, if you're listening to this, and if I'm misspelling your surname, bro, I'm so sorry. Like, it's not intentional, but it's spelled Buchan. I believe.
Bushan,
He
maybe.
is Bushan. I think it's Buchan, but in
Yeah.
any case, it's he is the man behind Charm Offensive, and he is a person who extremely well knowledge, extremely well written. So people like him, and essentially people, eventually people like us, we just come up with stuff that you described it very well. It's so dumb, it's so lame, so cheesy, but it just works. Because people, they're used to, well, they were used to receiving all these boring corporate emails and sales emails nonetheless, which is like nobody would read that. So we started experimenting a while back before you and I got acquainted, and we made experiments. We reached out to from the marketing family. We were looking, I think, to sell our Instagram services back then. I don't remember, but that was like 5-6 years ago or something. So we made a list of all the New York barber shops that we could find via Google search, and we just created an email list with their founders, CEOs, owners, I think, and then we just sent them a quick, hey, your Instagram could probably improve if you do this, and that. Would you like to? And we sent them a photo of one of the marketing family's co-founders just lifting his shirt and screaming like crazy. And we wrote, look, the lack of response is driving our colleague here insane. So he went into the woods and he just screamed until, cats started falling from the trees or something along those lines. Please, you gotta help him. Please respond and tell us you're gonna hop on a call with us. And this actually, I think people were like, what the hell? I don't need your services, but I would still want to hop on a call with you. You guys are crazy. So I did land some calls. And from there, we're like, maybe this kind of stuff actually works. So we went on. But the cup thing, people still talk about it. And yeah, it was pretty good. But essentially, to circle back to your initial question of how exactly what works and what doesn't. So like Boyan said, personalization, definitely key. Humor, definitely key, but big exclamation mark. Do not overdo it. Like, you definitely have to understand your audience a little bit, and I'm not just talking about geography and age group, but also like know the industry that they work in. What works in terms of, for example, here's a pro tip: try to find a joke that works in the circles that you're targeting. So, for example, for I don't know, what is it, Boyd? Like, for example, years ago, we were targeting cyber security people, people from this sector. And obviously, those guys, they're high-end programmers. Like, their jokes are incomprehensible for us. Like, I have no idea what the fuck these guys, what the hell these guys laugh at. But, essentially, we just Googled, what are jokes that cybersecurity developers laugh at? And we just put it in one of our emails. So we made it work in the context of the email. And people started responding to that particular joke. And with the, yeah, sure, I don't need your service. P.S., by the way, that 0-day exploit thing made me laugh, made my day. Thank you so much, and stuff like that. So again, study your target list and try to find a relatable joke to their work environment that only they get. This definitely works, and we've seen it work across the board.
I can definitely confirm on this one, because I actually did use IT-specific joke for recruitment, and
that too.
Which is essentially a cold outreach when you try to, get as many recruits as possible. And indeed, I got a lot of responses just because of this joke, saying, usually I don't respond to recruiters, but just because you made me laugh, I really want to talk to you, man.
Yeah. By the way, Boyan is a headhunter as well, but from a recruitment point of view, not a killing point of view. And essentially, when it comes to email and LinkedIn, now those are two completely separate platforms, so completely separate capabilities in terms of how exactly you can do cold outreach. It's not like everywhere you can use custom fields and personalization. So you really gotta understand the tools, the tech stack that you're using for the automation, because I assume most of this would be automated so that you can cover a larger volume. So understand the capabilities of your tools, and if they do not offer you the ability to use what you want to use, then just change the tech stack. Don't be afraid to just drop a tool and go to their competitors. It's totally worth it. Essentially, your strategy is more important and adjust the tools to your strategy and not the strategy to the tools.
Got it. What tools are you guys fans of right now?
Oof.
Hard question.
We're gonna get burned. Okay, so do you want to go?
Well, at the moment
you go for email. I'll go for LinkedIn.
Okay,
Let's do it like this. Yeah.
Oh, actually, one of the tools that I'm using works both for email and LinkedIn. But either way, one of the tools that I'm actually a fan of and they're using extensively right now is LeadCamp.
And okay.
Yeah, specifically. By the way, shout out to Bram if you're watching this.
Shout out to Bram.
Great tool. That is the reason why actually I'm really fond of it. Is not only that has email and LinkedIn integration for an outreach, but has a bunch of automations that you can do within the platform itself, which essentially it's a bad thing to say, but us marketers, we love to automate things. And with this with this platform, we can easily automate everything and turn a 4-hour task into a 15 minutes task that just by a few clicks it takes care of everything else. It's just an initial setup that it takes some time to plan everything, to strategize, and to set it up. But once you do, well, it really makes your life a lot hell easy.
You don't even need external integration tools like Zapier or something like this. It's just already built in, so that's just time saver, of course. But yeah, that's a pretty good platform for both email and LinkedIn. I would also shout out for LinkedIn specific tasks. I would say you have two options. I would look at them two options in terms of whether you want really high-end, complicated workflows with integrations and the tool making you coffee at the same time and stuff like that, or you want just a simple deal where you just want to write some messages, add a list of people, and just get it over with. Nothing too fancy, right? So the complicated many options thing I would say is Expandy. This would be my go-to tool. Shout out to Stefan Smolders, amazing guy with an amazing team, amazing accomplishments in this area. The simple tool for people who don't want to overcomplicate things, I would say IceReach is a good way to look at things. I would definitely reach out to those guys and hear what they have to say. Huge knowledge base. They created a very solid tool for just doing the basic things, and you don't want to get lost in the tool, So they've simplified it very well. Maybe also I could also recommend WeConnect as a plan B for a more simple tool if you want to have like a simple user interface and not too complicated. So WeConnect would be a plan B to IceReach. But those would be for LinkedIn for now. And of course, obviously, let's just address the elephant in the room, Lemlist.
Yeah.
The cold outreach tool for email primarily and LinkedIn secondarily. They have the LinkedIn option inside. I wouldn't use it for very complicated workflows within LinkedIn itself. And of course, we need to address the fact that LinkedIn are tightening their security, so it's not like you can overdo cold outreach on LinkedIn regardless. But if you want to add a step and be like, send email on day 1, follow up on day 2 via email, and then add person on LinkedIn on day 3, just to remind them that they have emails in their inbox. So the dual platform approach, Lemlist is doing a very good job at this. And essentially, I would recommend to all your viewers, always consider having email as a primary method of contacting your target companies, and then LinkedIn as a secondary platform, and try to use a dual approach, right? Get them from both sides.
Got it. Makes a lot of sense. And just in terms of, how long should a flow be, let's say, before you actually go in and say like, hey, we should get on a call, or what's the sort of next step from, having some kind of email interaction? What do you see as, is it go for the call right away? Go for like a, some kind of application? I have no idea. What are you recommending?
Well, it really depends on, again, here your sales process comes into place wherever it's already developed. And so you just follow the instructions of your growth manager. But let's assume that you don't have one. What I would recommend is first consider warming up your leads at each stage of their development and shooting for the kill, so to speak, only when you see that they're indicating that they're sales ready. What this means is that by this stage, you can name it SQL, sales qualified or marketing qualified. Different companies use different abbreviations and stage tags for their leads, so I wouldn't recommend a specific structure, but let's just say that by your pipeline definitions, your dictionary internal, if a lead is SQL, so sales qualified lead, this means that they need to cover your ICP criteria, so they need to be obviously an ideal, covering the ideal customer profile criteria set for your company, but they also need to have a certain degree of engagement with your company's content. Let's say at least 5 website visits, attended at least one of your webinars.
Liking
Here
posts,
it depends.
commenting.
Yeah, exactly. Depends on what your content strategy is in this case, but they need to show some form of intent there, right? You need to capture this intent, right? So essentially, what it comes down to this: if you're emailing them on a maybe not so frequent basis, just to stay top of mind, but you see that they're engaging with your content, they're getting warmer and warmer, and once they reach this score where you already know their ICP, obviously, they have a certain degree of engagement with your content, then I would go in and activate them, so to speak, with this type of cold outreach, which would be essentially, hey, you know what? I'm not going to say you already, I know you know who we are because I'm tracking you on our website, dude. But I would say, hey, this is me from company X. Just wanted to reach out. I've been looking into your company for a while and I see huge potential to do X, Y, and Z. Would you like to just briefly discuss it on a call? Send them the, the photo with the cups, obviously personalized, and see how they react. Obviously, make sure to follow up on a regular basis to make sure that the communication is going. If they don't respond, obviously try them once, try them twice, and if they just keep not responding, they might be out of office, they might be sick, or they might just be, maybe your emails are arriving in spam. Check your deliverability, or maybe this is not the right person, you've targeted the wrong person. So if you like the company, but the person is not responding, then just circle back to the rest of their team and just pick another person to molest. Try to try to track their activity, see how they're behaving, right? And then try again. Try to activate them with a simple short email explaining what you can do. Share white paper case study, some gated content that you can track if they download and they start viewing it. What are they viewing specifically, et cetera, et cetera. And essentially, the success rate here obviously isn't going to be 100%. It's not even going to be 80%. But if you even hope to achieve at least like a 25 or 30% win rate at this stage, perfect, right? But it all falls down to the prep work. Technically, reaching out to anyone as a first step with, hey, let's hop on a call, without first making sure that they have an intent to buy and a need that you can cover, least of all. Let's not mention they should be part of your ICP, right? This is default, obviously. But if you don't have the intent data on them, if you're not sure they even are looking for a solution, then shooting them with an email is just too risky, right? Too risky. You might as well be burning a very good lead who's not sales ready right now, but might be in a few months if you nurture them correctly. So why waste an opportunity?
Interesting. So if we go back to the very beginning, how do we actually source these leads? How would you suggest, let's say we have like an ideal customer profile and we're looking at a company, And then how do we go, okay, we got this company, how do we find the individuals and actually get their contact info? Who to find within that company? How do you approach the actual lead sourcing aspect?
Perfect. I'll answer this one. Well, like Matej said, initially we don't need to have a detailed ICP, ideal customer profile, so we can identify first of all what kind of company we're looking for. Very basic filters that help with sourcing those companies is at least knowing the geolocation where the company is located, knowing who the industry or type of products that the company offers, so you can decide whether if it's a fit or not a fit. Company size, founding date. Again, this really varies from company to company. But once you have this narrowed down, then you need to, like Matej said, make sure who the person in contact is. Could be the owner, it could be the founder. We need to identify who the champions are, who the decision makers are. And of course, we also need to identify who we should not contact. Because if a company is a good fit and somehow we target the wrong person within the company, this could be just as good as burning a lead if we don't get to the right person. Regarding how do we find the company and the contact information, there are many databases where you can source this. For example, Crunchbase is one of those one of those platforms where you have very detailed information about the company and the people working there. Obviously, LinkedIn Sales Navigator is yet another source that you can use. And then enriching the emails is again just a matter of a tool stack, just like we're using for the cold email outreach. There are dozens, even hundreds of tools that enrich the data. For example, Apollo is one of the platforms that we use and that we know a lot of our colleagues use as well. So probably this is the way I would approach this. ICP, sourcing through Crunchbase or LinkedIn or any other paid database would be the best, and then enrichment with Apollo or a similar tool.
I would interject here just with a couple of words. If you have to turn it into a process, also consider before you start lead sourcing, consider which data you need to collect from your prospects, from these leads, right? So it's not just obviously the company name, the name of the person at the company, of course, their email, yes. There's the obvious data fields, but also the not so obvious. Like, for example, collect where do they live, if possible. Collect if they have a specific thing on their website that would show you that they are not using a tool that they should be using, thus giving you an angle, right? A sales angle, right? So the tools that Boyan mentioned, like Apollo or like Crunchbase for data enrichment, they usually just give you the basic information that you would need in order to initiate contact. But if you really want to go deep, then what I would suggest is to also pass this information and better outsource it. Of course, there are teams out there that deal with this. Outsource it to assistants that can just visit each of these people's LinkedIn, Facebook profiles, Instagram, and just tell them to look for specific things. So, for example, just an example for one of our previous clients, what we did was they said, we don't want to work with anyone who doesn't have at least this amount of website visits, for example, and a website traffic, right? Some metric, and then we don't want to have anyone whose company's Instagram profile doesn't have at least 10,000 followers. Yeah. So this isn't something that Crunchbase would just spit out most of the times. Neither does Apollo. So some of these things have to be done manually. There's no way around it. So there's add-ons that you can add to your Chrome browser and visit the website, and then it will show you what the traffic is for a period of time, and you collect this data, and based on that, you can make a decision about the lead, right? But it has to be done manually. So normally what we like to do is we outsource these things to tools, students, interns, doesn't matter. It's an easy task. It's just very time consuming. Guys, don't do it yourselves. Better focus on the strategy and the more important parts and leave that to someone else. And then once you have this data, then you can proceed with making, looking at it and making sure, okay, so which of these guys have this button on their website? Okay, these guys have it. So they're probably using this tool, option, platform, doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm going to approach them with this angle. Let's check their Instagram profiles. Okay, these guys have between 10 and 25,000 followers. Maybe I can tell them, hey, look, you're already big enough, so why don't go grow bigger? But for the people below 10,000, I'm just going to tell them, hey, you're not big enough.
Want to
Let's
play in
help
the
you
big
grow.
leagues? Yeah.
Want to play in the big leagues? Yeah, 10,000 plus, etc. So these micro data fields, right, give you some specifics that can help you approach them better with cold outreach. If let's say they haven't had any touch points from before that.
Got it. That's super helpful. Boyan, you said something really interesting, which is don't target the wrong leads at the company. That can completely sabotage your whole effort. So how can people identify the wrong people to target at a company?
Well,
Stay away from the guy who pays the bills. You'll be fine.
essentially, yeah. Usually, as a rule of thumb, the CFOs are not a good target to
The CF no.
the CF no, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, again, it also goes with your ICP, but one of the things that works best is, for example, if you already have a clientele, if you have a certain target and people that you're working with, um, interviewing them and understanding and mapping out the whole process on how did you close a certain deal, who did you talk to, or when a deal falls down, who did you talk to and didn't work out. Usually it's already a general idea to show you who you shouldn't contact in the company. So mapping out the whole process from zero to hero and interviewing your clients and making sure that you haven't missed anything is already a great start to find out who'd be the no-nos when you shouldn't talk to in this case.
And also keep in mind when we're talking about the so-called blockers for your buying process, that doesn't always necessarily mean they need to avoid them. Keep in mind, more importantly is to make sure you're prepared for them. If that means to avoid them, fine, avoid them. But if that means to just prepare specific contra arguments to what they would normally say to block your deal, then just make sure you're prepared, make sure you can address those concerns better, pre-sway them that they shouldn't be blockers and then turn them from blockers into, another wall. But if essentially you might suspect that you might run into a person that would say, yeah, but this is way too expensive. I don't see the ROI, for example. By the way, as a note, the blocker doesn't necessarily mean that that's a separate person within the company. That could be the same person that you're trying to sell to. Like, hello?
Yeah, I hear you. I was muted.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yep. Sorry. And internet. Yeah. So yeah, basically, just make sure you can address their concerns, prepare beforehand. But that's the job for the sales team. Obviously, they need to know how to handle blockers.
Got it. Makes sense. It's great feedback there. Especially the persuasion part. Maybe even arming your champions with that logic in advance to make sure that they can preempt all that. But I got a question for you guys. So we're talking a lot about personalization and obviously a lot of messaging. So how do you see, or are you using currently or looking to use GPT and other sort of AI type tech for all this? Because it seems like a really great opportunity.
God
We
damn
are.
it. Okay.
Who isn't
Yeah.
using GPT nowadays?
Yeah, but actually that reminded me that this was the second thing that I wanted to share about lead sourcing. Just a pro tip: if you're looking for some companies with a specific set of criteria, right, covering specific set of criteria, just try your luck with ChatGPT, because literally what I saw was you just go to ChatGPT, or like, give me 10 companies in France that are using whatever platform for their business, and it just spits them out. It's like, oh, and have at least 1 million in annual revenue. ChatGPT is just like, yeah, hold my beer. Just gives you a list. I'm like, what the hell? Normally, I have to wait for like a week to get that list. You know, I have to go through 2 people and an enrichment tool, and it just gives it to you freely like this. So yeah, you can use ChatGPT for lead sourcing, amongst other
Well,
things.
actually, you can use it for anything as long as you're creative enough.
You know,
I mean, I think that there are no limits, or at
well,
least not.
that's the thing, isn't it? Like, people are so scared from AI that it's gonna replace, take their jobs, and they won't be able to do. No. It's like it's just it, potentially it could, only if you're not being smart about it. So use it as a tool to enhance your work. Okay, so
Yeah.
ChatGPT and other tools like, and by the way, ChatGPT is definitely not the best solution out there. There's tons of other AI tools that can be used for various reasons, but let's use ChatGPT as an example. So ChatGPT is not here to do your work for you. It's here to help you do your work. So it doesn't work without the manual, human input. Hence, you have this little chat window where you need to type something, but what you're writing is the most important thing. What you ask of ChatGPT is the way you control it and use it in order to shine. So another creative idea is, recently we had to write a birthday note to someone, and we were like completely blank, and we had to leave for the birthday party. So, by the way, if you're listening to this, person whose birthday we attended and showed up with a poem, no offense, I probably shouldn't have shared this, but anyways, too late. So yeah, we opened ChatGPT, and we were like, just write a poem about this person. We describe like this function at this type of company, this years of age, with these interests. Write a poem, make it rhyme. A birthday greeting card poem, and make it rhyme. Just like took 5 seconds, just spat out like a magnificent poem that we just like copied in by hand into the birthday note, and we just gave it. We're like, yeah.
Well,
So yeah, if you can use it for a birthday note, why not use it for cold outreach, right? I'm just saying. So, for example, one thing that I would do is I would get my top dream 100 list matter, right? And then just use ChatGPT to generate the content. Write me 4 lines that rhyme about a company that, and just a short description. And then it will give you the template of the text that rhymes, and you just replace the name of the company somewhere in there. There you go.
Wow, that sounds like it. I want to try that ASAP. Just cold outreach poetry.
Cold outreach, but yeah, why not?
Subject line: I wrote you a poem about, company name.
Yeah. Or for example, if you're targeting a specific type of people who they're very tech savvy, and they're going to be like, yeah, really, no way. So you can just write the poem, and then beneath just write from Ian bracket and ChatGPT close bracket.
By the way, I just gonna interject here. What you're describing is indeed true. We do use ChatGPT in a similar way, but again, the whole process is not always as easy as it sounds. I mean, you need to ask ChatGPT, or any AI for that sort of matter. You need to ask the right thing. Or even if you don't, whatever it spills out, it still takes time to redo it. For example, can you write me a message sequence for this specific industry? Then you need to ask it, okay, can you add humor? Then maybe you can ask, okay, can you add a rhyme? And there's a lot of bouncing ideas that you can do, but at the end of the day,
make it shorter.
make it
Use the
shorter,
word
make
orange.
it. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is that still the personal approach needs to be added. Whatever Chat GTP spills, again, at least what I found, it could be 90% accurate to what I'm looking and to what I want to have as a message, but still the last 10% that could be just as important as the other 90, you need to add your personal approach. We're still not 100% there.
You're absolutely right. And one other thing, do not make ChatGPT under any circumstances quote you actual facts without checking them first before you use them. So they can be wildly inaccurate what these AI tools say. Like, it's just crazy how inaccurate they can be. Yeah.
Really bad at math too, I've noticed.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
2 and 2 makes 3. Yeah, or maybe it's some kind of a different math they're just bringing in. We're just too dumb to understand it, but either way.
And maybe it's a parallel universe, you don't know.
Exactly. Parallel universe, different math and physics laws apply. So
I think it's time we call Doctor Strange.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But for example, one thing that currently we're working on, but it's still in the process, is to use systems like this to technically analyze your data, like for example, your pipeline data, and then just save you the time of looking for, like, wondering, what should I look at right now? What is wrong? And it just spills out what is wrong with your pipeline. If you can even just ask, like, hey, is my pipeline okay right now? Or how much, literally just ask it, like, how much emails do I need to send out in Q2 in order to generate enough my target revenue of 200,000 euro, for example, for Q2. Very small target, but still. And it would immediately tell you why, tell you where you need to generate them from. Is the emails just enough, et cetera, based on, it just pulls data from different factors and just does the thinking a lot faster, right? So again, would it replace business developers and growth managers? No, it wouldn't, definitely not, right? But it would help their job a lot.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, it seems like you could probably put your whole email history, just dump it into ChatGPT and say, hey, this email, we closed this client. Here's what was said in the email exchange. And then you could probably say, here are 2 that didn't close. Here's everything that was said. You have all the messaging, the timing. It'd be really interesting to break down those kind of instances.
Actually, a good idea. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah,
I mean, to me. But yeah, see, like,
there's so much you can do. Yeah,
so much you can do. It's just wow.
Yeah. Well, I always love how you guys are so on the cutting edge of all this stuff and really sharing it with everyone. Where can our audience go to get in touch with you to have these kinds of conversations about businesses that they're running? Where can people get a hold of you and learn more about what you guys going on with the marketing family?
I can just share my booking link.
Yeah. This is my IBAN. We're kidding. Of course, our LinkedIn profiles would be the most appropriate place to contact us. We are fairly responsive in our emails. Matey the marketing family, Boyan the marketing family. And so we have a website as well, which can be visited, and thus the same approach can be applied there. We'd love to chit chat and tackle and exchange ideas with anyone. So feel free to drop a message. And I hope that you got your email deliverability set up correctly and doesn't arrive in our spam folders. But if it does, then we will help you fix it.
That's we didn't get to that topic. I wanted to cover that, but hopefully next time we chat, we can cover that and share more about all the email deliverability.
Right.
That pitfalls and all that stuff. So love to cover that.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, whenever you say, even now, like, we can clock another 3 hours talking about it. We don't mind. It's a favorite topic of ours.
Yeah, we'll definitely do a separate call on that. That'd be amazing.
That would be good. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool, guys. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much, Ian. It was a great pleasure.
All right. Thanks for checking out the show today. Remember that you can claim your 7-day free access to vidtao.com, our app with over 7 million unlisted YouTube ads, landing pages, and funnels. Just go to vidtao.com to start that free trial.
This podcast is also sponsored by Inceptly.com. Inceptly is a direct response video advertising agency, and it's generated over $950 million in direct response revenue for Inceptly's clients via video platforms like YouTube, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Meta, and more. They're experts in both producing high-performing direct response video creatives and also scaling the ad accounts themselves, so expert media buyers, and very important, custom deep data analysis to make sure your tracking and attribution is 100% rock solid and tailored to your unique business and funnels. So if you're already spending at least $1,000 per day on ads and looking to take your results to the next level on platforms like YouTube, YouTube Shorts, Connected TV, and more, go ahead and claim a free brainstorm session with the Inceptly team. Just go to inceptly.com/vidtal. That's INCEPTLY.com/vidtal and claim a free brainstorm session. And just so you know, this is not a sales call. On this brainstorm session, the Inceptly team will work with you to uncover insights you and your team can use to unlock new opportunities and scale on video traffic platforms. Just go to inceptly.com/vidtal to claim your spot. All right, thanks so much for checking out our show and being part of our community. Once again, this has been Vidtal co-founder Ian Naj signing off. Have a great rest of your day, wherever you are in the world, and take care.